And good evening and welcome to the April 2023 Mangan Park Neighborhood Association on April 26th, 2023. We have a great agenda this evening, starting with our public safety minutes with SacPD and SacFire, followed by a really great conversation of summer in Mangan Park with YPCE's aquatics, as well as parks staff to talk to us about coming improvements in the next couple of months. The third agenda item is Supervisor Patrick Kennedy talking about airport security concerns and an update on the county homelessness plan. And the last one is all our other great events that we're going to have going on in this area. So welcome everybody, and let's get started with SacFire's Captain Justin Sylvia talking about current fire investigations in Mangan Park. Good evening, Captain Justin.
Good evening. How are you?
We're doing great.
Good. So since our last meeting, there has been an additional fire in the Lanai Shopping Center. I believe it was on April 13th. Jennifer, you emailed me right after. It did get some media attention. I think that was your efforts as well. A lot of media reach outs for that fire. And what we know so far is this fire was ruled undetermined at this point. Unclear if there's any camera footage in the area for the Hong Kong Cafe. There are multiple people of interest that our investigators are looking into and following up leads. I forwarded that information that you had sent me to our lead investigator on that. So they're following up with that. It was an exterior fire that actually extended into the inside of the business. And it's kind of a chopped up building. It's on the, if you're looking at it from the Freeport side, the left side is kind of a strip mall. And then the main building is the restaurant with banquet rooms. So it was a complex fire for us just because of the multiple compartments that are laid out throughout the building. But crews did an excellent job at keeping it from spreading to the entire building. So that's where we are with that. And I'll kind of open it up to any questions anyone has.
I see that Lindsay or Matt's hand is up.
I was just clapping. So good job.
Oh. Other questions on this fire for Captain Justin? Will, is that you raising your hand? All right, unmute yourself, please.
Okay, Captain, the question, am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Okay, very good. So the question that I have is now that we've had a number of different fires there in this location, is this building going to be deemed no longer structurally sound and leveled?
Not at this point. The damage was
Okay.
not that extensive to demolish that building.
Okay, all right. Just figure we'd ask because I know that there's been. I want to say this is what the third one, correct?
More than that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yes, more
substantial.
than
3. Yeah, 3 to 5, somewhere in there, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
so that's why I asked. At some point, you got to condemn the building and say, hey, it's no longer, it's been penetrated. The fire's weakened it at this point, that point, this point, that point. Maybe we need to condemn it. So it's a question that I asked. So thank you for your answer.
Absolutely. And just to go further on that, the old monastery school was demolished as a result of the extensive damage.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was brought down. The one just to, if you're facing it to the left of it, is vacant. What appears to be vacant. I was actually out there yesterday, just doing a little bit of recon, seeing what damage has been done to the building. It looks like there were points that whoever tried to force entry into the building. So the plywood that's covering some of the door glass and doors has been either penetrated or attempted to be removed.
Very good. Very good. So yeah, somebody trying to break in. They're trying to get entry.
That's what it appears.
Yeah. Understood. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for your hard work, by the way. I appreciate that. And I like the usage of recon. So
that's what we call it.
Other questions? Oh, Barry, your hand is up. But
Thank you, Thank you, Jennifer. Captain Sylvia, well, without tipping your hand, if you can, Commander Franco just, he didn't hit around it. He brought up an issue that I want to ask in regards to this particular building. Again, without tipping your hand, whatever you can share with us, does it look like it's the persons of interest are a part of a group that is set forth to destroy the building? I won't say on payroll, but for a group of developers who want the space to demolish the building and then rebuild whatever they want to build. And a second part to that, not only this building, but the additional fires that have been in the immediate area within 1 mile. Does all that come into play with these persons of suspicion? Whatever you can state without tipping your hand, of course.
So there's multiple people of interest so far. I was not briefed on any type of description or names. They're keeping that pretty confidential at this point, so it doesn't hinder their investigation. But if there are members of the community that see suspicious activity over there, it's something that we would want you to contact our department and specifically our fire investigators.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Jen.
Certainly. Lindsay or Matt?
Hey, I just had a question. So you said you have several persons of interest, and I'm just curious, and this may be a question for SacPD as well. I don't know what the prosecution jurisdiction falls on, but if one of the persons of interest does happen to be arrested, is it a misdemeanor or felony, like vandalism, or what is it?
Arson is a felony. And our investigators, though they were firefighters when they joined our agency, they've now progressed over to the law enforcement side. They still work for us under our prevention division, but they are law enforcement officers.
I guess I should rephrase it too. Like, so committing a regular crime, I believe it's like up to $1,000 and then it becomes a felony. Is there a X amount on the damage before it becomes a felony, or it just is automatically?
It's automatically a felony.
Okay. Thank
We're
you.
getting better at this vocabulary. We're learning. So thank you, Matt, for that question. And any other questions for Captain Justin? All right. I'm trying to make certain that I have, any of my questions might have been answered in the discussion. Justin, I think they have been answered as a part of the discussion. So I think I'm good. And thank you very much for gathering this information and for joining us this evening. Absolutely. And keeping us updated on this. Just so you know, we're going to do part 3 on May 24th with Assembly Member Kevin McCarty. So I'll be asking you back on May 24th for any more updates. And our keynote speaker that night will be Assembly Member Kevin McCarty. So you're going to be well prepared as always. I'm not worried. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you then. Thank you very much. You're an important part of keeping Mangan Park safe.
Absolutely. And if you have any further questions, feel free to email me or give me a call. I'm gonna,
All right,
I'm gonna jump off this call because I've been up since 2:45 this morning on other fires. So I'm going to sign off after this unless you need me for anything else.
Nope, go get some sleep. You're a good public servant, and we are grateful for all the generosity you've shown us.
Anytime.
All right, so Lieutenant Greg Galliano and DCR's Ben Worral, good evening. Thank you for coming and talking to us about other public safety concerns in our area. How are you this evening?
I'm doing very well. Do you want Lieutenant Galliano to go first or myself?
Why don't we go ahead and start with you? So if you're not familiar with the letters, DCR stands for Department of Community Response. And this is when DCR is the agency that goes out and checks on our homeless neighbors when we place 311 reports. They start the process of identifying people with needs in our communities. So I'm very happy to have, do you want to be called Ben or Mr. Worral, or how do we address you?
You can call me Ben, absolutely.
All right, well, Ben, thank you very much for coming and meeting with us this evening. And I know we have been 311ing a lot in the last month. So what can you tell us? What sorts of things should we know about how our 311 reports are being processed by DCR?
So there's a couple of things. I'm glad you bring up 311. I would love to just run through sort of the 311 numbers that I have prepared for everybody, and then we can open it up to questions. As far as District 5 goes, your neighborhood is the second most impacted in District 5. Right now, we only have 8 open calls that we would respond to in your district. This year, we've closed 30 calls in your district. We were most recently there responding 6 days ago. In contrast, another neighborhood in your district, North Oak Park, has, about 50 calls open, and that is the vast majority of the calls. There are only about 58 open in District 5 right now. Comparatively, District 2 has 181 open calls, District 4, 160 open calls, and District 6, 115 open calls. So those are our 3 highest call volumes. Councilmember Maple, I know, has said this frequently, but the squeaky wheel does get the grease as far as 311 is concerned. Right now, we have a field staff of 15 people covering a city of 500,000 people, with an unhoused population hovering around 10,000. So we primarily deploy our resources based on call volume. So what I would encourage everyone on this call to do, is regardless of whether or not your neighbors or community members have made a 311 call, make your own. The more calls we get, the more resources that are deployed. We do operate in teams of 2 that are deployed to districts. So there is a team assigned to District 5 regularly. We had a team out there today closing calls, and today alone we responded to 13 calls. And so there are currently 8 open, but we did respond to 13 today. We've removed 5 cubic yards of trash from your specific neighborhood within the last 90 days. As a comparison, in North Oak Park, we've removed 328 cubic yards and 527 hypodermic needles. So, it does vary based on the neighborhood. Those are the rough numbers. And now I'm happy to dive into specifics with questions from individuals.
And boy, do we have those hands up. Chris, would you like to go first? I'm sorry, I missed whose hand was up first.
Yeah, Benjamin, I'm hearing a lot about Oak Park. Can you tell me how many open calls, and if there is any, the turnaround on them and how they're prioritized in the South Sacramento area of Franklin Mac Road, and Florin of District 5?
So our turnaround right now, we track our average response daily, and it fluctuates based on call volume. Right now, our average response time to a call is about 48 hours. When we first started as a department about 1.5 years ago, our average response time was about a month. So obviously we've improved, our efficiency has improved. Let me pull up, you were asking about specifically about North Oak Park.
No. South Sacramento,
So
Franklin, Mac Road, and Florin, which is part of
so-
District 5 now.
yeah, so I have the numbers specifically for your neighborhood, not specifically for those neighborhoods, but I can pull those for you, and I'm happy to get those to you as soon as possible. I would need 5 minutes to pull those for you. I can tell you that your district is the 5th most impacted of the 8 districts that we get as far as call volume, with districts 2, 4, and 6 being our largest call volumes.
So if what I'm saying, if a business is calling, how long does it take for that business to keep calling before you respond to the concerns they have?
We will respond to any call within 48 hours. The more calls that we have, the faster our response.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, because I actually talked to some businesses last week, and they've been calling the council office and 311, and they're not getting no results.
So there is a difference between our response and the results that people are looking for. We're not always able to move people away. We don't do any enforcement. We're a social service-based agency, so we will show up and we will engage with people where they are and try to get them engaged in services. But we do not do any enforcement, and Department of Community Response will not move people from a location. If they are violating the sidewalk ordinance or they're within 500 feet of a school, we will refer that over to the SacPD impact team for addressment, only if we're unable to get voluntary compliance. So with the sidewalk ordinance, that would mean if we can get 4 feet of passable space, then that is no longer a violation of the sidewalk ordinance as it's written. And if the encampment were to move beyond 500 feet from the school, that would also not be a violation. So those calls would be closed because they would be in compliance with city ordinances, but it wouldn't necessarily be the outcome that an individual business owner may be looking for.
So what you're saying, if they're within, let me understand this correctly, if they're within the limit of 500 feet away from a school, but that what they're doing, their encampment is affecting that business, you're saying that you would close their calls.
So essentially, we will enforce the sidewalk ordinance in the essence that we will refer it to SacPD's impact team if they remain within 500 feet of a school. If they are outside of that boundary, then we will consider that call closed because we had achieved voluntary compliance. If they're blocking the sidewalk and there's not 4 feet of passable space, or an individual has to take evasive action to avoid physical contact with the encampment, then that would also be referred to SacPD impact. But again, if we're able to get that voluntary compliance, it will not be referred for enforcement.
Okay.
And Chris, I think perhaps Lieutenant Greg Galliano will have some more information for you on that, but let's stay with Ben right now and wrap up questions for Ben. And then some of the questions you're still having, we'll pass to Lieutenant Greg in the very next segment. So Matt or Lindsay, I think your hand was up next.
Yeah, Matt has a question.
Hey, I did have a question. So when we put in the request to 311, they usually send the homeless camps to you. Is that correct?
Yes, so there are specific 311 queues that we respond to.
Okay. So,
So real quick, if it's labeled as a homeless camp concern, a homeless encampment blocking the sidewalk, a homeless encampment within 500 feet of a school, or a homeless self-referral, which is essentially a person experiencing homelessness who's calling on behalf of themselves to ask for services, we will respond to those. A major point of confusion that we run into often is that if there is someone experiencing homelessness in a park, there is a queue that says homeless encampment, park, or bike trail. That queue is not sent to us. We do not have visibility into that. That goes to the park rangers. So if you want DCR to respond, I would encourage you to always classify it as a homeless camp concern, because we don't have visibility into the park and bike trail queue.
so I have a question with that, because normally if it's at a park, you have to go under parks to report the homeless camp. And I've got ones that have never even been opened, and I can give you the numbers. It still says new from June 4th of 2022.
That's,
I get that it says homeless camp at park or bike trail, whatever. But on the actual, since they've reworked 311, there is no way to just put homeless concern.
There is, that is a service type, is homeless camp concern. And you can reclassify your call as a homeless camp concern. And I see that Jackie Beecham is on the call. We have a great relationship with park rangers, and they are very supportive of us doing outreach into parks. So if there is a homeless camp concern call that is in a park, we absolutely will respond to it. We have a wonderful partnership with park rangers. They're very supportive of us and us of them. So you can reclassify that call as a homeless camp concern, and then DCR will respond to it. We just don't have visibility into that queue because we don't manage it.
Okay, I'm just curious, because I've got at least 10 of them here that have never even been looked at. And it's sad that nobody has forwarded that information with us, or, you know, been transparent about it, because 3 of these requests have actually turned into huge fires at our park. So
but we'll go ahead and so reclassify them. So we'll try to do that
from now on.
Yeah. And
Yes, absolutely. If they're a homeless camp concern, we will respond to it.
okay, we can share that with our neighbors.
Absolutely. I would encourage you to.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, I see 2 more hands up. Oh, and I see Jackie's hands up. And actually, I'm going to say the 3 people with hands up, those are going to be our last hands on this item. I am stretching the agenda since this seems to be such a hot topic, and I didn't anticipate this evening. But we're going to roll with it. And Jackie, I'm going to have you speak next, and then Will, and then Charles. So Jackie, you were a surprise guest this evening. I smiled big when I saw that you were waiting to come into our meeting. Thank you so much for coming this evening, and we'd love to hear from you at this point.
Thank you, Jennifer. I surprised myself being here tonight. I had a cancellation, so I was able to join, but thank you for allowing me just a moment. And I'll keep it brief. If you have any 3-on-1 reports that have not been responded to or any issues, please email me directly. We're working with 3-on-1 to find out where some of these calls, because it's not just here, we're experiencing this issue across the city. And so we're working with 3-on-1 to find out what's happening with some of those calls. We just need to know where it's occurring. So I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat, and feel free to reach out to me directly if it's anything related to issues in the parks.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate that, because we are going through growing pains of how to get the best services to the best locations, and who to call, and how to make it all happen. So we appreciate you clarifying that for us. And also, before we take our next hand, you're working closely with Parks Rangers right now?
Was that for me or Jackie?
Yeah, YPCE, the Parks Department we oversee our park rangers, and they do work very closely in collaboration with DCR and with the impact team.
Okay, great. For a moment there, I wasn't certain if you were still with YPCE or if you were now kind of coordinating with park rangers. So I was sort of like, I need to double check on that, because I thought you were YPCE.
Yeah, Park Rangers, actually, they are, their operation is under YPCE, under the Youth Parks and Community Enrichment Department. Yes.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
Okay, well, just so you know, my quick little fast plug, I am talking to everybody in neighborhood circles that I can about getting park rangers staffed more completely. That we need more
We
park
appreciate
rangers.
that. We absolutely do. We have 13 park rangers citywide. So 13 park rangers for 236 parks. We absolutely need those additional resources to be able to provide the community the support and response that they're looking for.
Thank you very much. You and I are together on this. We will keep working on it, and we'll keep, putting the word out that we need to increase staffing for that excellent program. I see Eric has raised his hand. I've got 2 other hands up. Eric, is it super quick and exactly on this point?
Yes. How many park ranger vacancies are there right
We just filled for the first time, I think maybe ever, our final vacancy. So we have no vacancies left. We have 13 total park rangers.
Excellent news. We like hearing that, but let's see if we can't get 100 park rangers to cover 200 and what is that, 60 parks? 100 would be good. All right, thank you very much. So I promised Will for a little bit. Will, what's your question for DCR?
Okay, it's more of a it's fairly a direct question too. Do they have any navigation suggestions for those people within the neighborhood park associations to maybe the do's and don'ts, or these are the way that you're going to get better results from the city? I hear that there's a little bit of frustration that's coming about from not getting these things addressed right away. Clearly, this is an effect because you have 15 people on one team and 13 people on another team, and a lot of real estate to under the jurisdiction for you guys to take care of. So with that being said, can we get like a cheat sheet? I understand the system's not perfect right now, and for us to ask for them to hire an extra 85 bodies tomorrow is a big ask. But in the meantime, in the interim, can we have like a soft cheat sheet compiled that we can kind of help with the neighborhood park associations and get that across to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a couple of things. First, as Councilmember Maple regularly says, the squeaky wheel does get the grease. The more 311 calls we get, the more response there is in the area. I put my personal email in the chat. The quickest way to get a response is not just, hey, I'm in this neighborhood, what's going on? It's, here's my 311 call number, what happened on it? And you're welcome to email me with your 311 call number and ask for an update on what happened with that particular call. In addition, I see Supervisor Kennedy has joined us. We just signed a few months ago a fantastic, unprecedented agreement with the county. So the more calls we get for service, the more resources we're able to bring to bear. And the county has been very generous in what they've given us. And we have access now to services that we did not have access to even 4 months ago. The county has been a wonderful partner. We're working very diligently with them, and now we're getting better movement. It's not perfect. I understand that. I absolutely understand your frustration. I'm a parent. I want my neighborhood to be safe as well. But I can tell you that we're moving in the right direction with a fantastic partner in Sacramento County. And I think Supervisor Kennedy will highlight that. But your cheat sheet would be more 311 calls. Just Commander Franco, just because you made a call doesn't mean that Lindsay and Chris can't make a call. I would encourage all 3 of you to make a call. The more calls we get, the more response you're going to get, the brighter you're going to shine on the heat map that we generate from our call volume. And the brighter that spot is on the heat map, the more resources that will be brought to bear in that neighborhood.
Great answer. Charles, your hand isn't up anymore. Did your question get answered?
I thought we had moved on from Ben. Is it still? It's not actually that important. I can find it out. It's all good.
Okay.
You're
All
welcome
right,
to
and
you're welcome
Will-
to email me as well if you have a question about DCR.
I
put my
actually
email in the chat.
it's only a 30-second question, really. So during the one of the meetings with Sacramento Steps Forward in March, they said that the time frame for when a homeless person calls you guys and can actually get help and services is 16 days. Is that still about that time frame, or is it shorter or longer than that before they actually get to where they need to go for services, I should say?
So that's difficult. It's difficult to put a time frame on that. It usually takes between 15 and 20 engagements with an unhoused community member in order to get full scale engagement. That means building the trust in order for them to feel comfortable engaging in the mental health services that the county is bringing with us. Our response time has plummeted. I mean, we're responding faster now than we ever have. It is not real time. I wish it was. I really do. The self-referral queue is being slowly phased into the 211 system. So once 211 and our coordinated access system goes live, an unhoused community member will be able to call and get real-time referrals to services and for shelter, for other services. The county has been very generous in putting their shelter beds into it. We've put our shelter beds into it. We're ready to roll this out. And this will, previously there had been, 400 different front doors to get into a service. Once coordinated access is fully up and running with 211 as the front door, we'll have one front door and everybody can access it in real time. And it's gonna be a game changer. I can only heap praise on the city council and the board of supervisors for bringing this to fruition. I know that this is a frustrating topic and we're not seeing the full scale results that we want, but I can tell you that we are making incremental progress. And once this system does go live, I think we're going to see a much bigger improvement. But again, any questions you have within the city limits, you're welcome to email me. Absolutely. I put it in the chat. Feel free to reach out. I'm a public servant. You cannot bother me enough. It's my job.
And Will, is your hand still up from before, or is this a second question? Because, all right, didn't want to not acknowledge you. We are coming up against one of my agenda barrier times. So I am going to close this agenda item with Ben. I know that Lieutenant Greg is still waiting. We're going to compress his section and get ourselves into parks super fast. So Ben, thank you very much. You've been amazing tonight, and I thought that this was going to be the sleeper part of the agenda, and it's turned out to be very, very substantial and of great interest. You've been fabulous, so thank you. You're welcome to stay if you wish, but we also understand in the world of public servants that, clocking off after 6:30 tends to be, something you aim for. So thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you again in the future. And then Lieutenant Greg, hello there. Good evening. Good to have you here. I know we're going to be compressing this section so that we can get to Supervisor Kennedy and have time with him as well. Actually, we have parks in between. So I'm going to say any information Mangan Park should have on current activities, and any response that you want to add on to what DCR has said. I'm not going to do a lot of questions on this section, but if you would tell us any updates in the world of Mangan Park, or what I'm starting to call the airport communities, anything that we should know about, let us know. And then anything you want us to know that's related to what Ben was sharing with us. So thank you very much, and good evening, Lieutenant Greg.
Good evening. I will be brief for you then, Jen. I don't want to steal any thunder from Supervisor Kennedy, but many of your county partners have been working with the airport to improve some of the security concerns and security measures, including working with city partners to try and shore up what can be done. Really, us at the Sacramento Police Department have just been lending advice for crime prevention through environmental design. Although we do respond to 911 calls there, all long-term problem solving is handled by the Sheriff's Department through their airport's problem-oriented policing team. And they've been trying to give a lot of advice to the airport on what they can do to make themselves what's known as a hardened target. And they seem pretty receptive to that. And SEPTED is usually crime prevention through environmental design is usually the first thing we go to when we see issues regarding trespassing and nuisance behavior, because it can really go a long way. So hopefully that starts to come to fruition and you start to see an improvement in your neighborhood for that. Our partners with DCR is really crucial, and our impact team works closely with them. I will say for the majority, for everybody outside of the impact team in the police department, we do not get involved in homelessness as far as homeless outreach and moving folks along and so on and so forth. Really, we refer that to DCR. They're the experts. They have access to the services and resources to bring long-term solutions to that. We will get involved if criminal activity is happening. But I must stress that without calls for service, without information like that, criminal activity can't always be verified, like drug dealing or auto theft or car burglaries. We really rely on our community to be our eyes and ears to let us know what's happening, when it's happening. And most of that's handled through our patrol division. They will respond on those calls for service. If you see drug dealing happening at homeless encampments or car encampments, we will respond on those. It's not going to be an immediate response depending on the call volume and what's happening throughout the rest of the city, but it is something we'll look into. And even if something doesn't happen that night, our problem-oriented policing team will continue to follow up on any type of long-term criminal activity, whether it's a house, whether it's a homeless encampment, whether it's a strange individual who keeps coming into the neighborhood. We will follow up on those things. So, just to add to everything you've heard, just like Ben said, without calls for service, there isn't much we'll be able to accomplish. But with that, it's much easier for us to partner with you and figure out who the bad actors are and hold them accountable for that behavior. So that's what I got for you, Jen.
I'm sorry?
That's what I've got for you.
Excellent. That was a really good start. So I did promise Chris before a chance to ask you a question. I think I have a question, and then we're going to be moving on to parks. So Chris, what's your question for Lieutenant Gregg?
Lieutenant Gregg, in this area, Franklin Mack Road, I have the pleasure to say you have a great pop officer out here, the new one, which replaced Kelly, Donnie Longenecker.
Sergeant Longenecker, yes.
Yeah, she is great. She's working with me and Food for Less and other patrons, businesses over in that area, picking up parts and things like that. So she's doing a great work picking up where Kelly left off at. So we have that support out here.
Happy to hear it.
Got it. Thank you very much, Chris. And then Lieutenant Gregg, when you said to contact SacPD when we see a crime in action, even if it's in a homeless encampment. I think some of what's going on is that people are 311ing all of it. If we see a crime going on, are we supposed to contact 311 or the non-emergency number?
Here would be my advice to you. If you see criminal activity, that is something the Sacramento Police Department will respond on, and we will address the criminal activity. What we won't address is the homeless encampment, right? We won't address the more long-term homeless issues. We refer that to DCR because again, they have access to that. For the crime, we will address whatever criminal activity is happening. So my advice would be to do both. To both report if there are homeless encampments in your neighborhood, report that to DCR, report that to 311. But also, if you see criminal activity happening, report that to us, and we will respond and address criminal activity, which can be sometimes low level. It may be misdemeanors, and a misdemeanor is going to result in a cite and release, which means the individuals are going to be remaining at their homeless encampment. It could elevate to the level of felony, which means there would be an arrest and then coordination with the impact team for homeless encampments being booked for safekeeping and property removal that may happen down the road. But our patrol and our POP teams and our gang teams will deal with the crime itself in the individual crime, not the long-term encampment issues.
Got it. Understood. And so our instructions are, if it's just a homeless encampment and everything looks calm and peaceful and no illegal activity, just people who need a space to be, that's 311. If we notice stuff like money being handed to someone and a bag being handed back, then we first call the non-emergency number, which is 916-808-5327. 5471, and also 311 it both. But first we do the non-emergency number, then we do the 311 report. So we want to make certain that we're distinguishing our reporting on these matters, so that, you know, it has been a little awkward when people keep talking to me about what they've seen and they reported it to 311, and then I check in with you guys and you check the 311 reports, you're like, we don't see it in 311, and then I go, okay.
And you can always ask for, you can always ask if you don't want to remain anonymous, you can ask for a call back from the officers and then have that dialogue with them. Is this going to be solved tonight, or should I also make a 311 report? And they will work through that with you. And you can always, as you know, reach out to me, and I'll always be unequivocally honest with you. Yes, this is something we're able to follow up on through criminal enforcement action, or no, you need to make a report to 311. This is more of a long-term homeless encampment. We will help navigate you through that.
All right, got it. Lieutenant Greg, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And fabulous as always. And we look forward to hearing more from you again next month. You're welcome to stay if you want, but if it's another one of those cases of dinner is cooking and you got to go, we completely understand. So thank you again.
You bet, I'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, parks. We're going to do the really short and fast. Let's see here. Is Sjon still there? Great. Let's do the pool, because the pool connects up to a bunch of other stuff I'm kind of prepping. And after we do the pool, then we'll do the park improvement plan. And I do want people to ask questions, but we're going to try to do this in 10 minutes. So let's see what we can do in 10 minutes. Sjon, please take it away.
All right, well, that sounds great. Thank you, Jennifer. And I'm happy to give some good news about the pools. We are opening the Mangan Park Pool again this year, as we had previously discussed on it. I have brought with Anna Koch. She's the aquatic supervisor, and she's actually got a lot of the details, and she's the one that has been doing a lot of the hard work on program planning and scheduling and staffing on there. So she's actually going to give a little bit of a presentation on that. But first, just a couple of quick high-level things that we're looking at doing. You know, we have resurfaced the pool, but we're continuing our investment with the pool. This year, we do have new picnic tables and benches that have come for the pool. We're going to replace those old green ones out there. So we think that that'll be a good improvement. They've just arrived. We still have to assemble them and get them in place. But that should be, I think, a welcome change. Some other investments that we're putting in the pool, we're addressing some of the doors that were kind of bad at the facility, some paint pieces on there. We're doing some patching of the of cement where it was crumbling a little bit on there, just to make it a little bit safer and a little bit better for the public. And kind of with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Anna, who's been working very hard on hiring for staff and shifting around staff around and figuring out what days we're going to be able to open the pool and the programming. So Anna, if you'd like to go.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Sjon. Jennifer, I don't know if you feel comfortable enable screen sharing for a moment. I've just got a quick flyer I'll put up as I just kind of walk through what we're looking forward to this summer. But in the meantime, we are, we're looking forward to opening Mangan this summer right now. You know, we're still about 6 weeks out from our opening day on, right now we're opening June 18th. And that's looking like it'll hold for the beginning. As we continue to onboard staff, we are, right now we're looking at a Monday family night schedule. We've got our Tuesday hours as to be determined based on staffing. We'll plan on opening the pool Wednesday 1 to 5, and that is confirmed. As well as Thursday 1 to 5. Friday will be the traditional close day, and then Saturday is our another TBD day that we're really targeting as we bring on more staff and getting folks going on our lifeguard ends. And then Sunday we'll be opening 1 to 5. So right now we've got 4 days confirmed on the schedule. Our team is reviewing staffing weekly and really moving as fast as possible to get folks onboarded and moving through that onboarding process and getting people out to the pools, and definitely prioritizing those weekend days because I know they're the most popular. With that, we also do have a fair amount of programming for y'all out there. We've got office hours again this summer. Previously water aerobics will be back out there on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. I'm looking forward to you all signing up. Right now we've got one person who signed up for those sessions. So if you're interested in it, by all means, head to our website, cityofsacramento.org/aquatics. You can sign up there for the sessions. Of course, there's also drop-ins during that time. You can just show up for 1 or 2 classes, see if you like it, and then sign up for the next session. We also have swim lessons on Sundays from noon to 12:30, so 30-minute swim lessons. There's 6 swim lessons within this lesson session out at Mangan. We're offering levels 1 through 3 for youth, as well as some teen and adult hybrid lessons. So if any of you need to get in the water and kind of brush up your skills or learn for the first time, it's a great time to just kind of try something new with your community. This year, we're also bringing back this our second year of the program. It's called Basic Water Safety. It's a free program that does require pre-registration, but it's a free program on Wednesday nights from 5:15 to 5:45, which is right after the pool closes. And that specifically focuses on age-appropriate and ability-appropriate basic water safety skills. So some introduction to swimming, and then as well some basic age-appropriate rescue skills, floating, things of that nature. It's our second year with this program. We're excited to offer it to the community. We saw great participation numbers at Mangan this year. We're already sign-ups are going pretty strong. And that program is sponsored by the Swim Safe Scholarship. So it is free to the community. It's 3 30-minute lessons. We've got 2 different sessions this summer. So that's what we have going on. We're excited to get out there. The staff is really excited. Again, we've got a strong team. We're just working to grow it by a couple more people so we can extend some hours and get some more days on the calendar.
Jen, I don't think any of us heard you.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and hop in here if that's okay. I had a quick question. Anna?
Yeah, that's
did I hear correctly that Friday is closed?
Right now, Friday is the close day. So as throughout the summer, that's just our dedicated close day. We have some pools that are closed on Mondays and some pools that are closed on Fridays. So like we always have that 1 day off for sure that we know is going to be closed. So that is our scheduled close day. We still have Tuesday and Saturday that we're working on bringing enough staff to open up those days and get them fully on the schedule.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure I understood that. That's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Chris, do you want to go ahead with a question for Sjon?
Yes, Anna, I meant to ask Parks earlier. Maybe you can answer this. Are you familiar with Nielsen Park? The expanding and the new equipment they're putting out there and all those good things?
I am not, but Sjon, or I guess Anthony or Jackie, can you guys speak to Nielsen Park?
Not at this time as far as the level of equipment that's out there. But if you're able to, I could put my email in the chat as well, and I could follow up with our park planning and improvement division right now. I was going to provide some quick highlights in regards specifically to Mangan Park, but we're actually in the process of backfilling our manager position for our park planning division. So
they've been putting equipment out there. I met with constituents and businesses out there for a meeting, and they have some exercise equipment they've been putting out there, and it looks like they're going to put a new soccer field out there. That park has been deteriorated for years, but my concern is, why didn't we know about it? Well, I knew about it, but why didn't the community know about it?
Chris, I put my my email in the chat. If you can just shoot me a quick email so I have your contact information, I can follow up with you on that.
Yes, let's go that way. So am I back online? Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for your patience. Anna says she can share now. I do want us to move on, but Anna, is it something quick? Can you just show us now?
What I can do, Jennifer, is just email this out to you, so you can share it with the neighborhood association.
That sounds great. Now then, the burning question on my mind before we transition to the park improvement plan is, I'm afraid I wasn't able to hear it because of my technical difficulties. Which day is the pool opening on?
We are scheduled to open June 18th, that's Sunday with y'all.
June 18th, which is the Sunday. Okay, got it. We'll figure the rest out from there. That's exactly what I needed to know. We're working on a plan for our ice cream social Sunday the 25th. So we're all in good stead, and we're actually postponing it because Duke Cooney is having his Juneteenth celebration just around the corner on the 18th. So we're kind of like, we're getting it done, but that's good news, and I'll let the neighborhood know. Thank you very much. Thank you, both of you, for all your information about parks, and I'll follow up with you in the next couple of days and with the neighborhood. And then meanwhile, Anthony, are you here to talk about our park improvement plan?
I'm here to give some high-level updates. Nothing completely in depth, but high-level updates in regards to what's happening, when it's happening, and kind of some expectations moving forward. So we do have a few park renovations that will be starting on Monday, May 1st. This will include renovations and improvements to the parking lot at Mangan Park, the playground, and also the basketball court. So we're planning on starting those projects. We were hoping to start them earlier in the year, but due to the weather and the amount of rain that we received, some of these projects have been pushed back. Originally, we were hoping to get everything completed by July, but that timeline will probably have to be updated, and we'll be able to provide updates as those projects go along. In addition to those improvements and renovations, our park maintenance team will be starting a renovation on the multi-use field, which is on the east side of the pool, the east side of the park. So that's going to look like a 2-week renovation where they're going to try to improve the turf and the grass area and try to get those fields up into more playable standards. And then the week of the 15th, they're going to be doing some park maintenance. Will be doing some upgrades to the archery range area. This will include a renovation of the archery backstops that will include new wood, rubber horse matting, and hay bales. So this should take about a week to complete, but it should be, I know it's much needed based on some of the stuff we've heard and the feedback we've received from the archery community. So those are the improvements and renovations we have coming.
That sounds absolutely amazing, especially those the extra rubber on the back to keep the arrows from going through. That's perfect. That sounds so responsive to everything we've been saying. So thank you. That's actually like 3 projects all in one. You just delivered 3 separate projects that are all going to be happening somewhere between May 1st and July in Mangan Park.
Yes.
And then the aquatic stuff on top of that. So as happy as I am right now at this wonderful news, we are planning an ice cream social for June 25th. How much of this will be done, and will it impact the picnic area for an ice cream social next to the pool on June 25th?
Let me circle back with you, Jennifer, on that. I'll get an updated timeline of all of the projects, see if we could prioritize some stuff and still shift some things around. That June 25th will remain a priority for the picnic area to hopefully, make sure that everything's available and it doesn't impede on that ice cream social.
Yes, please, and thank you. We will stay in touch about this and figure out a way to make it work no matter what. So I appreciate that. I really want us to move on. Will, I'm going to take your one hand, and then we're going to move to our next agenda item. Almost there. So, Will.
I'm pretty fast, so
I couldn't raise my hand after.
Okay.
Oh,
so
am I missing you, Miss Lisa? Okay, Miss Lisa, you go. All right, Miss Lisa, you have the floor.
Mr. Munoz, I know you're doing. I was wondering if you guys still offer the Wi-Fi in the parks.
We do offer the Wi-Fi throughout parks within the city of Sacramento. I'll have to confirm the level of Wi-Fi that we would potentially have at Mangan Park. So let me double check on the capacity that we have at Mangan, whether or not we have Wi-Fi, how accessible it is, and I'll be able to follow up with Jennifer to provide an update on that Wi-Fi.
Thank you. The reason why I was asking is because some of those homeless, I've been suggesting they go to the parks to use the Wi-Fi. They're saying they have a low connection. So I was just wondering for those that need to reach out to those, since you're on the line, if you can get me an answer, I would appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, and most of our parks that do have the Wi-Fi that's available and accessible, we do have signage up throughout parks at those locations that we do have Wi-Fi. But again, I'll have to circle back on Mangan Park to see if that park specifically has the Wi-Fi available.
Thank you.
My question was real quick. Mine is just, you did say that we were going to get like new benches and whatnot. Is that for the area that's underneath the big tree, or is that for the pool deck area?
So we're looking at the playground area right now. The basketball court, the playground, and the parking lot are the level of renovations. If there's some issues in regards to the picnic benches, those are, I'll take those requests and we'll work with park maintenance and park planning and those improvements to get those picnic tables and benches fixed if they're not in usable condition.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up, Will, because those picnic benches in the picnic area are rough. They were on my wish list to bring up the profile of Mangan Park, because a lot of our families use that picnic area for their big family gatherings. Our houses and our yards are too small. We don't have room for them, so people use the picnic area as their extended family living room. So having benches that are and tables that are in good repair is important to us. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Eric, I know you're an archer, so super fast, and then we must move on.
Yes, and this will be super fast. Anthony, thank you so much for the park improvements for the archery range. I missed if it was May or June 15th that the hay bales and backstops will be replaced. If you could please.
Yeah, it'll be May 15th, and it should take about a week for us to complete the replacement of all of that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, and all of park staff, you have been wonderful. You have brought us fabulous, amazing news that is going to light up our social media and have people dancing. And I wish you will be able to see everybody dance on social media when we deliver the good news to them that you have just delivered to us. And I'm certain that there'll be a little bit more follow-up. And in the upcoming months, if we need to have you back to clarify a few things with us, that's completely possible, because we love our park staff in this neighborhood. And you're always welcome with us. And if there's anything you want to share with the neighborhood at a meeting, definitely reach out to me and let me know you've got something. Right now, our meetings are the 4th week of the month. May has room on the agenda still, but it is scheduled for May 24th, and that is firm. And then I'm looking into booking for the 4th week of June right now. I've got some ideas, but nothing's penciled in. So if on May 24th or the 4th week of June, you want to come back and talk to us a little bit more about our plans and what's happening, we'd love to have you. So thank you again. Duty above and beyond, and we're super, super grateful.
Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome. You're all welcome to stay if you want, but if you hear dinner cooking, we understand. And we're grateful for your generosity this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our third agenda item of the evening is Supervisor Patrick Kennedy, who has been waiting patiently after what I assume is going to be a very long day of meetings. God bless you for being here with us, Patrick, and welcome to Mangan Park. And how are you this evening?
Good. How's everybody doing? Actually, after Ben and Lieutenant Galliano went, I don't know how much more I have to add. That was pretty thorough, but I'd be glad to answer any questions at this time.
Well, actually, I'm going to give us just a wee bit of redirection before we open up for more questions. One, which is there anything about improving security at Executive Airport that you can share with us this evening? Because the county does have some jurisdiction there. It's city property, but the county leases it, et cetera, et cetera. I know that there's a lot going on in the wake of the March 15th attempted theft and crash of a helicopter. But is there anything from the county part that you're working with about how we can improve security at the airport and in the neighborhoods that bound the airport? Because we're all one microcosm. You can't just say you made the airport safer. We've still got stuff going on in the neighborhood. So any news or words on that subject that you can bring to us?
If you could be a little more specific on how the security at the airport bleeds into the neighborhood, that would be helpful.
Got it. Some of the situation that has been happening, and it's been happening for years, is that there's three sides of the airport connect to multiple neighborhoods. On the north, which is Mangan Park, over on the east, those are interesting neighborhoods. That's where you can taxi up to your house, park your plane, lock it, and go inside your house. But those neighborhoods, those names are not very well known. And then to the south, you've got Bing Maloney Golf Course, Turley Park, and Golf Course Terrace Estates. So along those, basically these neighborhoods all share a boundary with the airport. We all have a lot of problems with the parts of our neighborhoods that are boundaries of the airport. That tends to be where most of when there is some sort of crime committed in our neighborhoods, you can see people heading for the boundary because it's just a chain link fence between the neighborhood and the airport. But it completely changes jurisdiction, and because there's a safety levee of mounded dirt, 10, 15 feet high, if you can get off of the neighborhood and onto the airport on the other side of their dirt levee, it's very hard to see them, and now they're in a different jurisdiction. So we're having to, it came as no shock to me that there was a helicopter attempted theft there. Let's put it that way. I've been concerned something like that would happen for a long time based upon what I see in my neighborhood, not what I see going down at the airport, because you can slice the pie and see the cuts in the pie, but all the juice is running back and forth all the time. So the chain link fence, the fact that there are trees around the chain link fence, that visibility is poor, that there's very few lights, all of these things, well, there's cameras on the airport side, I think, but none on the neighborhood side, is creating a very difficult to manage situation. People aren't trying to live in Mangan Park's, on the street in front of Mangan Park's residents. They're trying to live on 34th Avenue against the park, against the former city tree nursery, and they're actually pitching their tents and living on the boundary with the holes in the chain link fence so they can move back and forth between the two seamlessly, effortlessly. And so we're struggling with that, Patrick. So I know that the airport is working on their own internal things, but is there anything that's kind of county-ish, because county's also sheriff, even though SacPD can you hear how this gets a little confusing?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. We don't have any jurisdiction outside of the park on these issues, outside of the airport on these issues, but we completely have jurisdiction with SacPD on the airport grounds. We did since the Joyrider. Well, I'll go back even farther than that. You know, you talked about the Fullertown neighborhood, the neighborhood that used to be heavily populated by pilots, less so now, but they for years enjoyed unfettered access to the tarmacs and everything else. And we're even building structures on the airport property. We did, the FAA threatened to decertify us, which would have cost us millions of dollars. They won't let us close it, but they can decertify us. So if we didn't change that. So we did since put in security so that people can't just drive unfettered back and forth to their properties. They're not supposed to spend time on the tarmacs. That sounds obvious, but it was quite controversial to some. And so that we have a pretty good grasp of now. The incident in 2019 when somebody took a joyride on the airport and damaged a few airplanes. Since that time, we have significantly increased our security presence on the airport. Per airport rules and FAA in common sense, we don't advertise exactly what that plan looks like because, I don't care if you guys know it, but I don't want the bad guys knowing what we're doing with security necessarily. So, it's just, a sensitive issue to really share too publicly, but we have increased the presence. We rotate and we have people on site. We don't have 24-hour on site because that airport is pretty shut down at night. But we do, so that you can't figure out what the schedules are. We do rotate and move around so that we can have more of a presence. I know there were some that were critical saying that we should increase the height of the fence, but Jen, you alluded to that one. I learned a long time in this job that cyclone fences only stop the good guys. And I mean, when I first got elected, I remember down in the avenues, I saw that people were cutting into the fences and getting onto Caltrans property. And I said, come on, we need to fix these fences. And the day you fix them, the next day they're cut open, frankly. We'll keep fixing them. We're not going to give up. But we found out at Mather when we had these same concerns, and Mather has a higher level of security because of the much larger planes and more sensitive cargo businesses that are out there. We found that raising the height of the fence did absolutely no good. If they wanted to get through it, they'll just cut right through it. So it really, it doesn't work. So those are some that we do have cameras. I'll find out more about exactly what the lighting situation is and, where we could put that perhaps and maybe illuminate along the perimeter a little better. I'll look into that. So that's kind of where we're at on security. We do have a brand new operator, a fixed base operator at the airport, relatively new. So I would even encourage you to invite them out to your meeting if you want, and I can get you that contact information. Yes,
please.
Most of the operations even though Department of Airports oversees the airport, the day-to-day operations are done by a fixed base operator who is actually present. Their office is right there on the airport grounds. So, they should reach out anyway. I'll be honest with you, they haven't reached out to me even. So I think a little better presence in the community would be a good thing for them. So that's kind of where we're at on airport. There's been talk for years and years, is the airport going to close? It's not. Jay Chenier and I investigated the potential for closing the airport. County does lose money on it every year. And, I don't know how compatible it is as a land use anymore, but that's all moot point because the FAA won't allow us to close it. So, we have the airport. We're likely to always have the airport. I'm not an anti-executive airport guy. I grew up in the flight pattern my entire life. So I kind of like the airport, but I can see where, there could be some perhaps higher best use, but the airport will remain open. That's kind of where I'm at on airport.
And that's a fixed base operator that we can touch bases with and try to bring to the May 24th meeting?
Yeah, I'll get you the contact information.
That sounds great. Yes, please. And just before we open up for questions, just to let you know, we're not actively looking to close the airport.
No, I know. It's been something that, when I was the president of the neighborhood association in Hollywood Park in the early 90s, was the first time they redid the airport master plan. And we looked at it then. Most neighbors don't want it closed. They didn't then, and they still don't. It's kind of a fixture, but I just bring it up because the question does come up. And a lot of times there's a lot of misinformation floating out there. The county's closing the airport. I just wanted to get it out there. We're not.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that clarification. So questions for Supervisor Kennedy on this part of the conversation? Oh, Chris, there you go. I was going to say, no, we couldn't have silence. No, we're not going to have silence. Chris, please, what's your question?
So Patrick Kennedy.
Yes, sir.
We're not looking to do commercial development at the airport, right?
Not anything significant. Very, very limited. Actually, the FAA changed the rules largely because of Sacramento and what happened at Farrell's. So it's very limited to what we can do on that site.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that because there was some issues, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there was even the building on 24th.
Yeah.
There was a food bank wanted that building, and we took it to the FAA, and they said no, it's too intense of a use for that close to the runways.
Good deal.
Commander.
All right. Thank you. Yes, Will.
And so, first off, thank you for being here. We very much appreciate you. I don't know if everybody knows this, but Supervisor Kennedy is a very good veteran supporter, and we appreciate you very much. So thank you for that. But I was gonna have a quick suggestion. I know that we had Mr. Galliano on here previously, and I believe that the city kind of has that responsibility, right, to kind of police and monitor that area. Could that be like an area where we have a roaming patrol or whatever, where the guys they hang out there and wait for the call, or something? I don't know. I mean, just a suggestion. I know we can't go hiring a bunch of new people or whatever. That's not always the solution to throw money at it, but to say, hey man, maybe this is a good jump off point. Just a suggestion.
We do have some presence with the sheriff's department, not a great deal. But we do have some, and the rest is private security that is hired by the Department of Airports. It's not a bad idea, Commander. I remember back in the day in Oak Park when we were having problems in the 4th Avenue Park, and there was an SHRA project right next door, and we said, well, let's take one of those units away and let the police come in there, and that's where they can do their paperwork, and it's having a junkyard dog in the front of your house sometimes works.
That's exactly it. Just having the car presence there,
right.
And like you said, just doing paperwork at night or whatever, just kind of hanging out. Even catching up with a buddy and having a cup of coffee real quick before they go on to the next stop or whatever that might be. I don't know, just suggestion again.
No, I'll follow up with the council member, but also with Kathy Lester and her team and Lieutenant Galliano.
Okay, thank you very much. Charles, I think you have a question.
I do. Sorry, it takes a minute to unmute. Supervisor Kennedy, during the collaborative initiative to solve Sacramento's homelessness crisis, which the LHAP was discussed, it seemed like the city and county had a plan for only doing maybe a couple thousand more beds for homeless in the next few years, the next 3 years, which doesn't really even get close to fulfilling the Boise decision. So I was more wondering if the county and city, well, county, because you're the county supervisor, if you guys had a different interpretation of the Boise decision that would enable you to enforce no camping in certain parts of the county based off of where some of the tiny homes and some of the hotels, converted hotels and motels are going to be, or whether you guys have the no camping is not really something that's in the future.
So great question. As you heard earlier, the city and county are getting along much better on this subject and working together extremely well. So I want to choose my words carefully. to maintain that relationship. But traditionally, I will say that the city and county's interpretation by our legal staffs has been significantly different. We're a little less hands-off than they are, particularly when it comes to critical infrastructure. We did pass a critical infrastructure ordinance. We're still putting meat on the bones. It's just an ordinance at this point. It's not in effect until we pass a resolution, which gives greater detail and definition to what critical infrastructure is. Because I can tell you this, if we, for example, there's people say, well, you should, obviously things like, well, the Parkway has its own ordinance, but, things like utilities, levies, things like that. And of course, you can't block sidewalks. We know that. ADA purposes and others. So there's those things that we consider critical infrastructure. The problem is if we go too broad with our definition of critical infrastructure and start to include all parks, all schools, and you start doing a heat map, basically the county of Sacramento would be red, and there would be no enforcement because it wouldn't pass. It wouldn't be legally defensible on Boise. So we're really working hard to try to sharpen our pencil as much as possible and pass a resolution that defines critical infrastructure in a way that limits the impacts on our neighborhoods and our business districts and our communities, but yet but it'll still pass the defensibility test when it comes to illegal challenges. We're in the process of doing that right now.
Thank you. By the way, you probably don't remember me. We spent an afternoon at Boys Ranch a couple of years ago walking around.
Oh, yes.
And Charles is on the board of Hope for Sacramento as well.
Right.
So he does a lot of work with the homeless in the area. We are technically at 7:33. We are going into overtime. Supervisor Kennedy, you've had a long day. Do you have time to take Barry Boyd's hand, or
I always have time for Barry.
All right, excellent. Barry, please ask your question. You're on mute, Barry.
Well, and I thought I was doing a grand entrance too.
Who would have known 3 years ago we all should? Who would have known 3 years ago we all should have taken lip reading lessons?
Oh man, who are you telling? This is just anyway. 3 years in and still doing it. But to that, good evening to you, Supervisor. And I want to just say hello, and in addition to thank you in your office for sharing the promotion of the Sacramento Environmental Justice Coalition's Earth Day event on April 15th. Fantastic turnout. Again, thank you for sharing that on your social media. And it was a wonderful event with the US EPA in attendance, as well as our lovely Jennifer here. It was well represented. Congressman Omni Bera's office, Senator Ashby's office, so forth, so on. It was a great event. And again, want to thank you in your office for sharing the promotion on your social media. And to that, I'm gonna cut it off. I know it's hard to believe, but I won't keep yapping.
Thanks, Barry. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, bud.
Any final questions for Supervisor Kennedy?
One more.
Oh, Will, your hand's up.
Mine's more like Barry though. I just want to make sure that we get on your calendar for Memorial Day, sir. That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know how to
pretty
get me.
simple. Yeah, no, but I just figured since we're here, I might as well throw it out there. So we'll see you for Memorial Day, but always good to see you, and we appreciate your time, Supervisor. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody, and thank you all for being here. Someone came from the neighborhood association movement. Sometimes it can be tough to put in a long day and then do this, but without you, we're not as good. So thank you.
And we are grateful for having you here this evening. And before I let you go, I do want to invite you to June 25th Ice Cream Social in Mangan Park with our pool opening. I'll check in with Rachel and see about getting that on your calendar. But I wanted you to know that we'd love to have you come and join us for that. I've also invited Assemblymember Kevin McCarty to come to that. And we'll see how negotiations go with Senator Ashby's office. And I'm actually, I still have to get around to inviting SacPD and SacFire and United Latinos. And I'm going to invite, actually I already have invited the Coast Guard Auxiliary to come and talk about water safety in general. Seemed appropriate for our pool opening to have somebody come out and talk about water safety across the Sacramento area, given our amazing fast flowing rivers this year. So I hope you can come out and join us. We'd love to see you again.
I can't.
Thank you for being patient.
I'm afraid I'm going to be out of the country.
Oh, well, happy you. I hope you have a great trip elsewhere, but know that we'll be thinking of you and keeping you in mind for any other events that happen in Mangan Park later on this summer.
Great.
Let's see here. Anything else? Anybody else have events they want to invite Supervisor Kennedy to? I got a couple of event people out there. Where's my party people? Hey, it looks like they logged off. We're about to do party events. Where'd they go? All right. Anyway.
All right. Thanks, everybody. You know where to find me.
We know where to find you. Thank you again. And don't log off other people. I got a few more words. But thank you again, Patrick. And have a beautiful month until we meet again.
Thank you.
All right, people. Good meeting. Good meeting. Excellent questions. And the last and final agenda item is always upcoming events because the weather's improving and we're about to start having parties. So the first one up that you've heard referenced already is, well, actually, let me even go before that. May 24th is the next Mangan Park Neighborhood Association meeting with Assemblymember Kevin McCarty. So that's the next event on my list. May 24th, 6 p.m. by Zoom. You should all be receiving the Zoom link. And we are going to be talking about public safety stuff, but we're taking it to the state level, state policies and how they're either helping or hindering our public safety in our area. Then you heard Will kind of talk about it on May 28th in the afternoon at the Old City Cemetery at 1000 Broadway. The Veterans Affiliated Council is going to need neighborhood support for collecting the flags on veterans' graves. There's roughly 5,000 flags. The Boy Scouts laid them out on Friday evening. We got lots of help Friday evening from the Boy Scouts. It's fun. But then on Sunday, somebody has to pick them all up. I will gather up that information from the VAC and make certain it goes out over our mass list. Will, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm going to cut you off there. No, the flags stay until Monday night because it's Memorial Day's on Monday.
It's Monday night.
Yeah, you can't pull them early because that's why they're there. So we put them down Friday with so I'm going to have the National Guard. We're kicking off our program. Walk with me with the kids, the mayor, Assemblyman, everybody will be out there on Friday. And then on Saturday, I do a small fraternal ceremony at the historical cemetery. On Monday, we have the Memorial Auditorium. So we have another one that we're doing with the city of Sacramento at the Memorial Auditorium. And then after that, I'll probably either come back that night to pick up flags or, to be honest, I'll probably come on Tuesday. So the cemetery manager, Lori Bowder, it's her birthday afterwards. So I always take her out to breakfast. So and that's just my thing. But just to kind of hash that all out real quick, just to make sure that nobody gets the wrong information, right?
I'm so sorry, I screwed it up, Will.
Where did all the flags go?
All right. Whoops. No, it's on Monday, and Will, they need to be collected before 6 p.m. on Monday, right? It's like a policy of the cemetery. They want them all picked up by 6 p.m.
It should be. However, I can work it out with the manager, and if we can get a group together to just come in Tuesday morning, that's okay too. But it would have to be
All
first
right.
thing Tuesday morning. I normally show up at 8, 9 a.m. and then honestly, picking them up is not nearly as hard as installing them. So installing them involves a poking and then planting. So that takes more time. But picking them up is, boop, 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 you know, so I get it done pretty fast. About an hour and a half.
Based on the response I've gotten from next door in the last couple of days, we can get this done Monday. We can get this done on Monday. I have to get out of that rut. We can get it done if we call people out for like 2 or 3 o'clock. We should be done by 6. Because the 2 sisters who came last year and everything, they're gung-ho to come back, and we've picked up some more. I also hit some different social media groups than last year, and so my multiple posts are. One of them is in the first 20 hours hit 950 people. Right.
Oh wow, that's great.
So we can do this. I've given them the heads up. They're waiting for final details and information. I just gave them a save the date. So people will come out if we give them enough notice, and we can have this done on Monday between like 2 or 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. If that makes it easier for you, so you get to relax. Okay, got it. Then
perfect for
that's
me.
the general. Woohoo!
Okay.
And then after May 29th, the next event I know about is on June 11th. But does anybody have anything between May 29th and June 11th going on?
Yeah, but it's not in Sacramento. So on June 10th, I have the LGBTQ art gala that the VAC is hosting with Calvet Minority Affairs Division, and that will be at the San Francisco War Memorial. So if anybody's interested in attending that, please do let me know.
Excellent. Wow. Thank you very much for that wide invitation. Matt, you have Charlie Park's 50th anniversary on Sunday, June 11th.
Yep.
Hey,
do you want to talk a minute about how that's going?
Yeah, sure. So, we got a lot to get done in a short amount of time. We were hoping to have the grand opening of the new disc golf course that's going in there. But due to the weather, we're kind of getting dogged, and it doesn't appear that the goats are going to be on time to mow it down. So they're still
get more goats.
Big, huge cleanup for Earth Day over there. The disc golf, Sacramento Disc Golf Association, they were able to get in 3 of the holes. They have all the baskets assembled. So they're hoping to get about 15 more of them done this weekend. So all 18 holes will be in. So yeah, we're going to have a big party. You guys come out. It's free. The midnight players are going to be there. We're going to have a DJ the whole day, food trucks. It's 11 to 6 p.m. June 11th at Charlie Park. And I'm fingers crossed. I think we're going to have some Aztec dancers there too. And it should just be a really good thing. Chinua Rhodes is going to be there. Katie Maple, the car show. There'll be a lowrider show in the playground of John Morse Therapeutic Center. Anybody that wants to bring a car out, bring it out. Just give me a heads up, because spaces are filling up and they're becoming limited, and there's no registration for your vehicle either. So yeah, just let us know.
Charles, you have a question.
Was the goat thing serious? Because I have a goat guy. And I can pass it along to Jen over the weekend. So you really are having a hard time finding goats to eat grass. I work in the dairy industry. I know quite a few goat farmers that do that.
And this might be a question for the Parks Department, because they have a team that's going around to all the different parks, but I think they only have one team. So yeah, if we can set that up, we'd love to get the goats out there sooner.
I'll communicate with Jen over the weekend.
All right, sounds good.
It's a plan. Any other questions for Matt about Charlie Park's 50th anniversary? All right, and then the following Sunday is Cabrillo Park's Juneteenth celebration, going to be happening in their park. I forgot to ask Parks if the Cabrillo Park is going to open on the 18th also, because the 18th is the day the Mangan Pool will open, and we will have swimming here in Mangan Park. I was wondering if the same would be true of Cabrillo Park for their Juneteenth celebration. June 18th is also Father's Day. So there's a lot going on that day, but if your family celebrations could include a Juneteenth at Cabrillo Park, please save the date for that. Commander Franco.
I think that depends on whether your kids like you or not.
Could be, but there should be something for everybody, one way or the other. So that's Sunday, the June 18th at Cabrillo Park. And then on Sunday, June 25th, we're planning the ice cream social with Katie Maple here in Mangan Park, and officially celebrating the pool opening. And I hope to get the flyers drawn up and start distributing flyers around our neighborhood for that one. I've also spoken to Jaime Cervantes of my Vang's office and to Ryan Brown of Katie Maple's office about calling those 3 Sundays the Freeport Boulevard June Triple Crown. So, like Matt's event in Charlie Park would be like the Kentucky Derby, and Cabrillo Park would be the Preakness, and Mangan Park would be the Belmont. And if maybe you have a card has a unique stamp from each event, and you get to Mangan Park's ice cream social, and you can produce your card with all your stamps, then you can have an extra scoop of ice cream or something like that. So I'm hoping both parties like the idea. No one has officially said we're doing that, but it's my effort to get 2 different council districts that bound each other, that are very much a part of the South area culture, to advertise their events together, so that District 8 will know about Charlie Park, because Charlie Park is right on the boundary. Come on. They're doing this major big old blowout. I think Meadowview should know about it, as well as District 5. So I'd like my Vang to help publicize Charlie Park's 50th anniversary. Cabrillo Park is just starting up their Juneteenth and making that a go. So I think it would be great if Katie Maple and District 5 would help publicize that, because they're right on the boundary of District 5 right now. And then everybody can come and party at Mangan Park on the 3rd Sunday in a row. And we'll have ice cream and more ice cream and a swimming pool that's open. And I'll beg to get the swimming pool open extra hours and all that good stuff. None of that's promised. Just legal disclaimer. It's not promised, but I'm working on it. It's on the Jennifer playlist for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we'll see that happen. Hopefully it's kind of cute and kind of fun and kind of athletic, and it gets everybody out and going. And then after that, anybody got stuff going after June 25th?
Oh, I'm loaded heavy.
Miss Lisa, do you have a national night out in the formation? Because I'm thinking we need to be working on national night out together. I want to get some arts and crafts stuff going.
Because I live in the county, they do it differently than the city. So I'm still working on that. So yes, I plan on having another one this year at Rainbow Park, as well as in the Meadowview community. And I'll give you heads up on the next meeting or prior to that.
Excellent. Well, and that's August 2nd, correct?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead.
Jen, just real quick, and I don't know, I mean, just, putting this out here, I probably won't be in town or anything, but I think as part of the neighborhoods, maybe we should, and I pitched this before, like a chili kind of competition or whatever. Maybe you guys might want to do that during like 4th of July timeframe. It's the Americana.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll have that up and running by then. We have a lot of work to do, and that's a different organization, and we need to get that going. But
oh no. I mean, just something, you know, as you were talking about trifecta, not the organizational thing. That's not what I'm talking about. Just saying, you know, something in or just even a 4th of July event.
I like it. I can look at it. What I know is that Matt happens to have some excellent party equipment he's offered. So Matt maybe will share some of his excellent park party equipment with us. And Matt and I will sit down and try to calendar that out. I don't want to put that into the recording because people might think, you know, it's set in stone on that. But yeah, I think maybe the three of us should all kind of talk about that. And with that, I'm seeing that people are waiting. It is 7:52 p.m. And I think we've handled most of the events coming up in the near future, and save May 24th at 6 p.m. for the next installment of the Mangan Park Neighborhood Association monthly meetings. It's been a great meeting, everybody. Thank you for making it a great meeting.
Bye, you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.